All right, hello everybody and welcome to our municipal forum. I'm going to get started with my spiel here. As we begin tonight, we would like to acknowledge that we are meeting virtually on Treaty 8 territory, home of the Beaver, Cree, and Dene peoples, and home of the Métis peoples of Region 6, where we celebrate and value diversity. Welcome to the fourth of 5 virtual councillor forums for the 2021 Town of Peace River municipal election, and thank you for joining us this evening. Hearing from you directly will help us make informed decisions as to who will best represent our interests when we vote either at the advanced polls on October 8th and 9th or on Election Day, October 18th at the Misery Mountain Ski Chalet. My name is Riley Armstrong and my co-moderator is Tony Nickenchuk. As your moderators, we will remain supportive, unbiased, and neutral. We also have Victoria Champion behind the scenes as our technical moderator. She will be helping us navigate the Zoom platform and any issues that may arise throughout the course of our conversation. Victoria will also be recording this session, and we will post the video on our YouTube channel, and we will provide the links throughout Facebook. At this time, we would like to take a moment and thank Amber Armstrong for spearheading these forums, and our other community residents who have graciously agreed to help coordinate these events. They have been an important part of this process, and we are all committed to improving Peace River through active participation and respectful dialogue. Now I'll explain the ground rules and then we can begin. Tonight we will be hearing from Jill Cairns, Don Good, and Sylvia Mathieu. For each candidate, we ask you to respect each other's answers without interruption. We will provide the time allocated for your response. If your time is close to being up, we will notify you. You should then wrap up your comments. If you continue to go over, as a moderator, we may have to intervene, but we do encourage you to continue your conversation after our forum is over if you'd like. The order of speaking for each segment of the forum was assigned randomly. Please feel comfortable and consider the next hour as a community conversation. We're all local residents who are interested in hearing more about you and your plans for Peace River as a councillor. Tony, Victoria, and I are here to encourage you and provide you with that opportunity. All right, Tony, over to you to introduce the candidates and their opening statements.
Perfect. Thanks, Riley, very much. And welcome to the candidates, Don, Sylvia, and Jill. And we will be starting with the opening statements. Each candidate will have 3 minutes for their opening statement. I'm going to start with Jill, then Sylvia, then Don. Jill, are you ready for your opening statement?
As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, you have 3 minutes.
Okay, well, my name is Jill Cairns, and obviously I live in Peace River. I'll give you a little bit more of my background than what I said at the last one and what's on my little blurb on Facebook. I have grown up in Alberta. I've lived in small towns, Camrose, Daysland, Thorsby. Then I lived in Edmonton, been in Peace River for 38 years. Have 2 kids and 5 grandchildren, and they all live and work here. This was a really tough decision for me. I've been thinking about this for a few years, but because I'm a small business owner, I didn't really have time. And I've been approached by several people over the last few elections to ask if I'd run. So here I am. I'm going to give it my best shot. I'm not a politician, but I do love Peace River, and just see if there's anything I can do to help or change things that some people don't like right now, I guess. And that's about it.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, Jill, for your opening statement. Next with their opening statement will be Sylvia. Sylvia, are you ready?
Hi, my name is Sylvia Mathieu. Thank you, Amber and team, for hosting this. I was a bit reluctant because of the platform this is being published on. Social media is not my strong point. I have watched and participated in every forum that I was invited to. I believe that whatever the result of this election, Peace River will have a well-rounded and competent council and mayor. I admire the grace and class while answering their questions. I have to admit that I'm not comfortable answering questions before I've been given an opportunity to think about my answer. So the 2 unknown questions, I could be running into trouble. I'm running for Town Council of Peace River because I believe one important aspect of being on Town Council is to ensure that all voices are heard, not the loudest or the smartest, but all voices. I've lived here for 30 years and I'm married to Guy Mathieu. Our sons Daniel and Tyler were both raised here and consider this home. I have a strong belief in lifelong learning. I obtained my social work diploma here in Peace River at Northern Lakes College. I went on to obtain my social work degree in my late 40s at the University of Calgary through distance learning, so I didn't have to leave the North. I'm currently pursuing my master's degree through the same process. I began my campaign stating that I'm running with no set agenda. I have been corrected. Several friends and town citizens have pointed out that I do have an agenda. My plan is to be open-minded, listen to the community members' thoughts, and implement what is best for the town to the best of my ability. This, I'm told, is an agenda. I'm running on a platform of respect, transparency, accountability, communication, and creating workable relationships. I have past experience in governance and finances. I've worked as an office supervisor for Superior Propane, in which I managed 3 offices for several years. I was a Peace River School Division trustee for 1 term, and most recently, I'm a shareholder in the land development company of Hilliards Bay Estates. With this experience, I appreciate the necessity of understanding fiscal issues that will affect the entire town. And I'd like to wish good luck to all of my joined councillors. That's all.
Great. Thank you so much, Sylvia. All right. Don, we'll move on to your opening statement. You'll have 3 minutes for it. Are you ready to go?
I am, yes.
All right. You have 3 minutes.
Well, like many others before me, I came to Peace River for not really intending to stay a long while, and here I am 25 years later. It's amazing how fast a quarter century can go by. Prior to being in Peace River, I had never really been involved in community service. My first exposure came in Peace River after we had a flood downtown, which heavily damaged a lot of businesses, when a group of people got together to start the We're Back 97 project. This purpose of this project was to have businesses support each other, and by promoting each other and their own businesses, also to have a great big party on Main Street. The business and residents of Peace River responded well. It worked, and it was so successful that it continued as Peace Fest, which ran for over 20 years and is still active today. I'd like to note that Jill has been active in Peace Fest a lot, and I really want to thank her for her service in that. In 1997, I was asked by a number of people to run for council and was elected that fall. I have served on council for a total of 16 years since then. It has been and continues to be a privilege to work with many people, and I've been lucky enough to serve with. Each of them brought individual perspectives and served the town with commitment and dedication. In 2000, I opened my own business, which eventually became the computer store in A440 Music. This provided with my family for 20 years, and I enjoyed great support for the people of business in Peace River and the whole region. I sold my store almost 3 years ago to a young man looking to start his own business, and the store continues today. It was important for me when I sold that the town should not lose another business, a landlord not use a tenant, and a storefront would stay open. I am and will always be pro-business, and I'm very aware of its importance to our community. Presently, I'm working with the North Peace Housing Foundation in IT and communications. It's no secret we're in challenging times. The regional economic picture appears to be somewhat on the upswing with more activity, both locally and in outlying municipalities, especially in the resource sector. But we're faced with challenges in our agricultural community, as evidenced by Northern Sunrise County declaring a state of agricultural disaster at its August 24th meeting. We are only prosperous when our neighbors and the province are also prosperous. Many of our local businesses are not only facing these challenges along with us, but are also dealing with many uncertainties brought about by COVID, from lack of customers, inability of customers to access their services, and staffing challenges, to name just a few. This election, we are fortunate to see so many people wishing to be involved in local council. It speaks to a genuine love of the town and a desire to serve and better our community. It's going to be very important to strengthen and sometimes repair existing relationships and partnerships, develop new ones, and work with everyone to see our way through the next few years. And I look forward to the opportunity to play my part as best I can to work with other members of council to make decisions that help Peace River and our region to not only survive, but to prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Don. And I will now hand it over to Riley to start with moderator question 1.
Yes, thank you to everybody for all of your opening statements. The next segment of our forum will be a series of 2 moderator questions. The questions were selected from a list provided to all the candidates in advance of this evening. Each question will be answered by the candidates with 5 minutes allocated for a response. We will start with Dawn, then Sylvia, and then Jill. Are you ready for the question?
Sure.
Okay. Question 1. Are the town's business processes helpful or prohibitive for companies wanting to start projects? And what, if anything, would you do to change them? So Dawn, you can begin.
That's an interesting question because I think it depends on perspective. I think our town policies are, for the most part, helpful, but not always. I think one of the things that I can use as an example of helpful is a lot of people talk about the offsite levies and the impact of them on businesses and developers. And that depends on perspective also, because, for example, if people want to look this up, they can. If you go to the March 2019 council meeting, I think it was March 13th, I could be wrong on the date. We had both a lawyer and a developer come in and talk to our council about and thank us for the work that this council had done on the offsite levies and lowering them. And their comment was that work we had done was going to make it much, much easier for businesses to locate in our town. I think, like I say, I think it really depends on perspective. I think there are some developers that have found difficulties. Sometimes I think that's occurred when they've gone a certain distance down a path before talking to the town, and then something may not be working out as easily as they thought, or may not be as simple or as clear cut as they thought, and they want a really, really quick reaction. Well, policies are there for a reason, and most of them are there to protect the whole citizenship of Peace River, not just the business. And sometimes those wheels do move a bit slow. I certainly think that there should be more openness in the process. I think that the process maybe should be more understood by people going in, and that's probably a failure on our part to make kind of the ground rules more visible ahead of time, because that way people can deal with them ahead of time. But I think overall, there's no council that is anti-business. All councils want business. All councils want business in their community to prosper. So I think for the most part, it's pretty good. I think in some areas it could certainly use improvement.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, Dawn. All right, Sylvia, you're up next. I'm just going to reread the question for you. Are the town's businesses processes helpful or prohibitive for companies wanting to start projects? And what, if anything, would you do to change them? Sylvia, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, I'm not really familiar with what the exact town processes are. From talking to people in the town though, a lot of people that wanted to develop, there's been a lot of complaints about the time frame and the red tape that was involved in trying to get the development projects going. And like I say, I don't really know the processes to date. I would say for the helpful part, I think that the Chamber of Commerce is a very positive, helpful process, because when this businesses start, they're there to kind of put them into a community, like community bond, where they at least have somebody to support them. That's all I can say. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Sylvia. All right, Jill, do you need me to read the question one more time? Oh, I think you're muted.
Sorry, I thought you controlled that. No, I think I have the question. Great listening to Dawn, because you know, that's one of the reasons I want to get on council, is to hear what's going on in, you know, in the council meetings, I guess. Lots of good points, and I'm like both of them too. I've owned several businesses in town, but I've always bought pre-existing businesses, so I've never ever had any issues. But same as Sylvia, I've had a few too many people complain about the aggravation and the time and everything else. It was like they just don't want to do any more business in Peace River, and it blows my mind. So, you know, that's one of the reasons why I'm thinking of running. Like Don said, no council doesn't want business. No, I agree with Don there, but I don't think that's what's going on here. But, you know, being politically correct, I can't actually say what I want to, because I guess it would be considered hearsay. But anyhow, I don't know. I just, I hear there's things not working on the council, and I guess the only way to find out is to be part of the council. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you for that answer, Jill. I'm going to pass it over to Tony now, and he's going to read your second question for you guys.
All right. Thank you, Riley. And thanks everyone for your answers to the first question. Second question, you'll again have 5 minutes each, and we will be starting with Sylvia, then Dawn, then Jill. The question is, how will you ensure that the town has the right personnel to achieve council goals and mandates? Sylvia, are you ready to go?
Can't hear
Sylvia,
you.
sorry, you're muted.
Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So the question is, how will you ensure that the town has the right personnel to achieve council goals and mandates?
All right. Well, when I was an office supervisor, I supervised probably 7 women in the 3 locations. One way to ensure the town has the right personnel is when you're doing the interviewing, you have a broad selection of the people on the interviewing panel. I wouldn't just have, say, the mayor. I would have the mayor and 3 other council members, maybe even some community members. I wouldn't just take what's written on somebody's resume at face value. I would definitely check extensively into it, because somehow we've got some employees that the resume isn't adding up to what the performance is. So I would definitely do that. I would also do like a lot of not like evaluations, and have people evaluate themselves, and plus have someone else evaluating. And I think that I understand that, you know, they have the human resource people and they have that, but they also have to remember that they have to follow the mandate of the council, not and of the town, what the town's wants are. Not, they can't go off on some personal agenda where they think this person is good, or it's a buddy or whatever. They have to be accountable, and they have to be accountable to the town, and they have to be accountable to the council. And I think, yeah, I would just make sure there was a lot of evaluation and a lot of accountability. And if there's something that goes wrong, then we deal with it. And it may mean a penalty, it may mean firing, but that is the way I would deal with it. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Thank you very much, Sylvia. All right, Dawn, you'll be up next. I'll just repeat the question. It just helps with viewers when they're watching the video later, if they hear the question right before each respondent. So Dawn, the question is, how will you ensure that the town has the right personnel to achieve council's goals and mandates? And you have 5 minutes.
Well, I think one, there's a real kind of misunderstanding in some areas about the control that a council has over employees. A town council only has one employee that they can deal with, and that's the CAO. They have no control, and when I say no, I mean none. They have no control over any of the other employees. The only control that they have is based on, they can base it on results. For example, the town may set a policy that they would like 10 kilometers of road paved within a year, and that's the goal and the policy. If that's not done, they can go to the CAO and say, why wasn't this done? Why didn't this happen? But that's the only employee that they would deal with. It's up to the CAO and the rest of the administration to make sure that the employees that they have are competent so that they can meet the goals of the council. And those goals, the purpose of a council is to set policy and direction, not to manage specific projects, not to manage specific purchases in a lot of cases, not to manage the day-to-day running of the town. That's to administration. However, the control becomes, did the CAO meet the expectations of the council? Did the CAO accomplish the goals of the council? If we set a goal, for example, increase population by 2%, for example, did the CAO achieve that? Was that goal achieved? But it's in setting policy and direction. And so it's a little different than in a private company where where one person in the company can basically hire, fire, or direct. It's not a situation that exists in a municipality. There are two separate kind of wings of a bird here, administration and the council, and you need both of them to be strong and competent.
All right, great. Thanks for your answer, Don. We will now move on to Jill for her response to question 2. And the question again was, how will you ensure that the town has the right personnel to achieve council's goals and mandates? And you have 5 minutes.
Well, okay. Okay, well, interesting answer there, Dawn, to an interesting question. I mean, really, I have to agree with what Dawn's saying. I guess we're allowing the tail to wag the dog. And I mean, you just said it yourself, Dawn, and clarified something for me that yes, as councillors, we do have control over one employee, which equals the CAO. And when that person does not perform properly, my belief that we do have the power to change it. Please correct me if I'm wrong. This is, I'm just learning this stuff, right? Because really for me, that's the problem, is what I'm hearing in town. And, I work retail. I see a lot of people and I see a lot of people I actually don't know well, but like I said before, it's like I'm their hairdresser. They just talk about things, and it's quite interesting. I've learned a lot, and some of it I'm not happy about. So I guess the bottom line for me is a good CAO. And without one, it's really tough. Somebody told me the other day, one of the toughest things to run is a municipality. And there's more about that I hope I get to talk about later. But, bottom line is, if you don't have a good leader who doesn't know how to delegate, has his own agenda or her own agenda, then, I think you could be in trouble as a small town. There's lots of factors. So, yeah, thanks.
Great, thanks, Jill, and thanks everyone for your response to that question. I'm just going to move right into the candidate selected questions now. So prior to the forum, all the candidates were provided an opportunity to select a question from a large list of questions or to submit their own. And we did get one from each of the candidates. So we will start our candidate questions with Sylvia, and then Jill, and then Dawn. And again, you will have 5 minutes for your response if needed. So Sylvia, your candidate selected question was, with a limited budget due to a small corporate tax base, how can Peace River improve its amenities and infrastructure without incurring debt it cannot afford? And whenever you're ready, you have 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you. Like, these are ideas that I have. As Dawn pointed out, I may not know whether they're actually doable, but like if you get to council level, I guess you can either try to change it or try and implement it. I'm not sure what the procedure is there, but I'm always all for change if it's going to do anything better. But what I would do, number one, is I would work as a community. I'd go after every grant that is available for every entity in the town of Peace River. This would include nonprofits, environmental groups, climate change situation, recreation, special interest groups such as senior homes, after school care, arts and culture. I could go on and on. I was at Heritage Towers yesterday. The common thread there was that they don't have enough money to fund necessities such as transportation. I was kind of looking today at the different grants available, and I noticed that the federal government does have a senior, I don't know if that's ever been addressed. I'm not going to question whether it has or not, but there is a federal government grant there that helps give like a bus to a senior group. So I think that could be something we could look into. My answer to it would be to create a position where one person is chasing after every available grant and every available government subsidy that's out there. I believe that the salary that this employee would receive would far exceed the revenue the town may obtain from it. I've been on several nonprofits that we couldn't access funds because the loopholes and the ability to understand the requirements for some of that grant information. You have to be like an author to come up with some of the things that you need to fill in. So I think that we need to have a full-time grant writer for everyone in the town, not just the town. My next idea is to eliminate the singular agendas, establish the work relationships with businesses and community organizations in the town that is equitable to everybody. A great example just happened this last week. Like just the companies working together. The Board and Barrel have announced that they are going to take off Sundays and Mr. Mike's is going to take off Mondays so that their employees can get a break because they're overtaxed. Nobody's going to work. Everybody's frightened. And I think that's a really positive thing. Like these are competing businesses. They're looking after their employees and it's their bottom line. Like they're competing with each other, but yet they're helping each other. And I think we need more of that. I think if all the entities could do this, we would be well on our way to a lot more prosperity. My third idea is federal or provincial cost sharing. I know it's a catchword all the time, and I'm not sure of all the politics involved in it, but I would definitely learn. I found this excerpt while I was on the website, the Canada government website today, and it's regarding infrastructure. It says, through cost sharing, the funding provided by the federal government towards infrastructure projects is matched by other partners, such as provinces, territories, municipalities, or the private sector. The Government of Canada will continue to do its part by providing up to 1/3 of the funding for most projects. Now, this was dated November 25th, 2020. So it's not that long ago. It's still got to have some relevance. I think the cost sharing with the other neighboring government entities, business and community organizations is a great way to encourage projects that will benefit the town. Question is, could we not include religious and ethnic groups more in developing and sustaining the projects? All of these population, they're a part of our town and they're often overlooked. I think if they were included, they may go into their own pockets and fund some stuff, but they're not really ever included. And like, let's have some follow-up. Try and get enough entities together to make our town prosper. The more entities included in project, the more ideas and resources you're going to obtain. I realize there may be ideas. These may be ideas that have already been successfully or unsuccessfully implemented, but I think it's a great way to try and keep our community viable. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Sylvia, for that answer. All right, next we'll move on to Jill's candidate selected question. And Jill, your question is, although Town Council no longer uses in camera, they do use closed session related to some topics like legal and labor that qualify for this exception. What are your thoughts on closed sessions? And you have 5 minutes.
Wow. You know, we checked out on some bylaws here, but I guess we missed that one. They've changed the name and I'm to assume that it's something different. Again, my mind is blown. Yeah, I'm not a big in-camera fan. Don't get me wrong. I understand there's times like, you know, if there's an employee problem type thing, you know, but really most of the business that goes on or has anything to do with the town should be open to anybody at any time. And I don't know. I just have a feeling that the closed camera has been taken advantage of. Again, you know, hopefully you can prove me wrong. I don't know, just what I'm hearing. and I'm not liking what I hear. And that's really, it doesn't take long to answer that question. So I guess that gives you more time for the end there, Tony.
Okay, no problem. Thank you very much, Jill. And we will move on to Dawn. Dawn, your question that you submitted was, what do you think is a good quality to bring to the table as a counselor? And you have 5 minutes for your response.
I think probably the most important, or one of the most important qualities I think a person can bring to the table as a counselor is an open mind. And I mean that specifically because most of the things you're going to deal with as a counselor are not things you planned on dealing with coming in when you had the idea, I'm going to run for a counselor. They're things that occur because of events that occur in your community, problems that are brought to you, issues that are brought to you. So you have to look at them from a kind of a fresh perspective. And you have to be willing to really actively listen to other people that are involved in it. And not to get kind of an ego on the idea, well, I know this one, I've done this for years, I know this stuff, because you can have, like Sylvia brought up some ideas just in her conversation a few moments ago that I thought, wow, I never looked at it like that. That could be a really interesting thing to consider. And I think so you have to have that open mind and the willingness to accept that new people coming in are going to be bringing new, fresh ideas and new perspectives that are necessary. The other thing is you don't want to become, by having a closed mind, an impediment to people reconsidering an issue. You may feel really strongly, well, I think what they're deciding is absolutely wrong, and I really don't want to go there. But once that decision is made, I think your job changes to a degree to try to make that decision function as well as it can, for two reasons. One, they may be right, they may know more than you, and you may be wrong. And the other thing is that if in fact they find out that maybe they are wrong, nobody wants to turn around when somebody's going to look at them and go, well, yeah, I told you so, you were wrong. So you really don't want to become an impediment to other people's ability to not only consider issues at the front end, but consider them in the middle, consider them at the end, and work together to always be trying to make the best decisions for the town of Peace River. You're not making the decision for yourself. The decisions you make affect the day-to-day lives of everybody in this community. If it increases costs to businesses, if it increases taxes, it increases taxes to all of us. If it makes it difficult for business to survive, then it makes it difficult for our community to progress. So I think the most important thing to do is to come in with an open mind. Don't come in prejudging a situation as that you think you already know the answers. You might, and you might be absolutely correct. But hopefully the other people around the table are also going to come in with an open mind and listen to everything you bring forward.
All right, great, Dawn. Thanks so much. Thank you, all three of you, for your responses. And now I will hand it over to Riley to moderate the closing comments.
Awesome. Thank you, Tony. All right, so now that we're coming near the end of our session, and before we hear our closing statements, I would like to thank everybody for attending this event and the respect that you've shown throughout this evening. So for our closing comments, each candidate will have 3 minutes. We're going to start with Jill, and then Dawn, and then Sylvia. So Jill, whenever you're ready.
Okay, wow, that went by fast, and good job, guys. You got me through. I think not quite over yet. So, no, I have to agree with Dawn. Truly, you do have to go in with a very open mind, which, you know, isn't always easy. And, but, you know, I'm willing to give it my best shot. Say my biggest concerns, you know, my mom always told me you have to live in the calendar year, which really makes it tough because, you know, things change all the time and it's not always for the better. For myself, I think a lot of the things with the town is we're not a volunteer society anymore. And you know, that's especially in a small town and even in a large town. You know, I was involved with Klondike days. So, you know, you need volunteers. Those things just don't happen by themselves. So, you know, I don't know if we can change that, if we can get back to having some things going on. It's been tough without the Kinsmen, the Royal Purple, the Lions, the Legion. But it's a new world, new technology, new interests. But unfortunately, those interests don't generate income for our town. You know, we've got a lot of empty buildings. We've seen businesses just move 30K down the road. Like mind blowing to me. You know, and I was at those meetings. It was sad. It really was sad. And, you know, if you look at the map and see where we sit and what we provide, you know, people aren't going to like this one, but I've never understood it from the day I moved to Peace River. Why all the money isn't thrown in one pot. And I mean, this is where they sap the bridge. I don't know what else to tell people. This is the hub of this north part. You know, it's time to get over that and let's work together. And man, you have a beautiful spot. We have a gorgeous spot. You know, really, tourism could be really, really big here. But again, it takes somebody, and we've had them. And unfortunately, they've either moved or passed away. So I don't know. I just want to get some feel back to Peace River. I hate to tell you this, but there was more shopping and more to do in '84 than there truly is here in 2021. So thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Good job, Dawn. And oh my God, Sylvia, I love you guys. And good luck to everybody. And we'll see what happens. Thanks very much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jill. All right, Dawn, now it is your turn for your candidate closing comments.
Okay, first, I guess, you know, I'm asking the people of Peace River once again to support me in my work on council. I think I bring a positive, cooperative approach to discussions. I'm always willing to hear new ideas and perspectives. But I have to say, I really don't have much time or interest in focusing on the negative, on criticizing people for their thoughts and ideas. I'll respond and discuss the ideas themselves, all the while recognizing others around the table are just like myself doing the best they can to help Peace River prosper. I'd like to talk about a comment that I made in one of my previous campaigns, which was the idea that we're diverse in opinion and united in goal. And I think it's the best way forward to our community. I think if you take a look at all the people that are running right now, I think it speaks again very, very highly about the commitment that people have to this community, their desire to see it grow and develop, and their desire to see it prosper. I would really love the opportunity to work again with a group of really committed, dedicated people to help bring this town forward. And I hope you folks would give me that opportunity. Thank you much for all the years in the past. And if I'm fortunate enough to work with some of the people here tonight, or people who have been on the other forums, and even some of the ones who haven't been on the forum, I'm really looking forward to that. And I'm looking forward to our future in Peace River. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Dawn, for that answer. All right, Sylvia, it is your turn for your candidate closing question or statement, sorry.
If I'm elected, I promise to do my best to listen to all the citizens of Peace River. I've experienced several situations where the marginalized population do not have a voice. I feel inclusion is a very important aspect to a happy and prosperous community. I'll also do my best to ensure that issues that arise will be presented to council and addressed in a timely manner. Even if I have to run around and ask people the questions and get back to the people, I'll do it. Like I think people deserve to know what's going on. I'd like to see a well-rounded council sitting at the table. I believe every candidate has their own strength, whether it be great leadership skills, understanding government procedures that enhance our ability to deal with other government bodies, empathy for individuals who have no voice, ability to cooperate and communicate effectively, understanding fiscal issues, and dealing with taxpayers' money in a responsible and accountable manner. I think a whistleblower is also a person that needs to be a part of it. If an issue is identified and not dealt with, we need someone to point out the situation and ensure that there's accountability. I think if we can gather all these strengths, there's 3 through 7 people on the whole council, including the mayor, I think that with each individual having some of these traits, that it would be very positive, and we would be able to move forward, hopefully. One thing I'm going to address, because I've had several people ask me why no one's addressed it. COVID's been brought up to me over and over and over. While I'm talking to people and friends, even when I've been out just going to town, like going uptown or going to stores, or yesterday at the seniors, like, is the COVID. My belief is, like, it was brought up at the Chamber of Commerce forum, and you refer to it as an elephant in the room, which it's being very, very negative in our society. I believe that there's a great deal of division among our community members over basic personal beliefs regarding this pandemic. It has become obvious that the population will be forced to concede to the laws put in place with the enforcement of the COVID passport. This is something people are going to have to deal with, whether they do it or they don't. Hopefully this will put everyone on the same page, and we can become a cohesive community instead of a divided community. There are many past town vendettas. I think we should forget them and move on to a prosperous and positive future. I believe that I could work with anyone elected to the new council, and any of the mayors that are elected. I thank you all. Please do your civic duty and get out there and vote. I'd like to thank Riley and Tony for taking the time tonight to referee us. Well, not really referee, but, and I'd like to say to Tom, or to Don and Jill, good luck, and maybe we'll be sitting around that table together.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sylvia. I'm going to hand it off to Tony now, and he'll send us off.
All right, perfect. Thanks, Riley. So yeah, just going to do a little bit of a wrap up and goodbye. So first, just really wanted to thank Don Good, Jill Cairns, and Sylvia Mathieu for your time. Great night tonight. Thanks for all your questions and your answers, and your involvement. As we stated, this is the 4th of 5 Town of Peace River Councillor Forums that we're hosting this week. And I just really wanted to say thanks to everyone here tonight, but all the council candidates. You know, putting your name in the hat for council is not an easy thing. It takes guts. It takes a lot of time. We all have busy lives. This isn't a, you know, like in the big cities, Edmonton, Calgary, where you're doing this as a full-time job. This is something you're kind of, you know, doing extra in your already busy lives. So kudos to all of you for putting your necks out there and putting your names out there and getting involved and running in this election, and wish you all the best, of course. So we do want to also acknowledge that we've had to move dates and times around for these, and everyone's been super accommodating. So thank you for that. Just had to do some juggling, and thank you very much. And we, of course, encourage all of our residents to get out and vote starting this weekend at the advanced polls on the 8th and 9th, or on the day of the election, October 18th. Polls open 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. on those days, and they're at the Misery Mountain Ski Chalet. So again, thank you to the candidates. Thank you to my co-moderator, Riley, and to Victoria, our technical moderator in the background. And again, another thank you to Amber for spearheading all of this and getting it going. And good luck with the rest of your campaigns, and we wish you all the best.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.